Road of Ghosts, Bayburt D915. The Bayburt D915 road in Turkey is a marvel of danger and beauty. Carved into the mountainside with treacherous switchbacks, sheer drops, and unpredictable weather, it has claimed the lives of many over the years. But the real horror of D915 isn't just its deadly terrain, it's the whispers of those who never left. In 1916, during World War I, a convoy of Ottoman soldiers traveled along D915, attempting to transport supplies to a remote outpost. Witnesses from a nearby village reported seeing the caravan making its way up the Serpentine Road. But when the supply line failed to arrive, search parties were sent to investigate. They found no trace of the soldiers, no wreckage, no footprints in the snow, no bodies. It was as if the entire convoy had simply disappeared into the fog that often cloaks the road. For decades, locals reported hearing distant hoofbeats and wagon wheels rattling in the dead of night, only to find nothing when they searched. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures marching along the ridgeline, their faces obscured by the mist. Truck drivers, the lifeblood of the road, tell of a man who hails rides along the treacherous path. He appears late at night, dressed in outdated clothing, always standing at the same bend. If you stop, he climbs in without a word, his presence icy. Those who glance at him in the mirror say his eyes are hollow voids, reflecting nothing. One driver, a seasoned veteran named Semmel, made the mistake of stopping for the figure. For miles, the ghostly passenger sat in silence until he finally turned and whispered, "You should not be here." Semmel slammed the brakes, but when he turned to confront the man, the seat was empty. Later, Semmel learned that in the 1970s, a truck driver named Farouk had vanished at that very bend, his vehicle found mangled at the base of the cliff. His body was never recovered. Semmel never took that road again at night. There is a specific turn along D915 known among locals as the Whispering Curve. Travelers have reported hearing voices calling their names as they navigate the sharp bend. Some claim the voices sound like their deceased loved ones, while others say they hear urgent warnings to turn back. In 2005, a group of college students drove through the pass, laughing off the ghost stories. As they approached the curve, their car's radio crackled to life, despite being turned off. A woman's voice came through, whispering in Turkish, "You shouldn't be here." Seconds later, their brakes failed. The car skidded towards the edge, stopping just inches from the precipice. When they looked around, the road was deserted. A thick, unnatural fog often rolls in without warning on D915, reducing visibility to nearly nothing. The truly strange part, however, is that some travelers claim to have seen figures walking through it, people who should not be there. In 2018, a motorcyclist named Mehmet was forced to stop when the fog grew too thick to navigate. While waiting for it to clear, he noticed a woman in a white dress standing ahead of him on the road. She didn't move, didn't speak. He called out, asking if she needed help. The woman lifted her head, revealing a face that was completely featureless, smooth and blank. Panicked, Mehmet restarted his bike and sped away. When he looked in the rearview mirror, the woman was gone, but the fog stayed with him for miles. Locals believe the road is cursed, not just because of its death toll, but due to its history. Legends speak of an ancient burial site beneath the mountains, disturbed when the road was carved through the rock. Some say the spirits of the dead seek vengeance on those who pass through, dragging the living into their world. The Bayburt D915 road remains a dangerous marvel, both for its physical hazards and the unseen horrors lurking in the fog. Travelers report an unshakable feeling of being watched, of ghostly whispers drifting through the mountain air, of figures appearing and disappearing in the mist. Whether these are merely stories born from fear or proof that something lingers along the treacherous path is uncertain. But one thing is certain: those who disrespect the road do not return. The Curse of the Forgotten Travelers. They say some who take the Bay Bird D915 road never make it to their destination, not because of the cliffs or the weather, but because the road itself swallows them. Ghostly headlights appear in the fog, only for the car behind them to vanish moments later. A trucker once claimed he saw a woman standing in the middle of the road at night, only for her to disappear into thin air when he got closer. The next morning, they found a crashed car down the ravine, its occupants long dead, but the woman's body was never found. The road that decides your fate. No guardrails, no second chances. The D915 road doesn't allow mistakes. If you hesitate on a turn, you're done. Some drivers say they've heard whispers in the wind urging them to turn back, while others claim they've seen shadowy figures standing at the edges of the cliffs, watching. The locals say that the road takes one soul every so often. If it's not your time, you'll pass. But if it is, the road will make sure you don't leave alive. The phantom truck of D915. There's an old legend among truck drivers about a ghostly vehicle that chases those who drive at night. It's a massive, rust-covered truck with shattered headlights, appearing out of nowhere in the mist. It follows closely, honking its horn in an unnatural, distorted sound. If you speed up, it keeps pace. If you stop, it vanishes. But if you look in your rearview mirror for too long, they say you'll see your own lifeless face staring back at you. The unmarked graves along the road. Look closely at the bends along D915, and you might notice small piles of stones, unmarked graves for those who never made it past the turns. Some say they hear their voices in the wind, warning new travelers to turn back before it's too late. Others believe the road demands sacrifices, and every year it chooses its victims. If you feel the weight of unseen eyes on you while driving, pray that you're not next. The vanishing car mystery. In the late 90s, a group of tourists driving along D915 was never seen again. Their vehicle was found a week later at the bottom of a ravine, but the bodies were missing. No blood, no signs of struggle. The weirdest part? The car's headlights were still on, and the radio was playing static. Even today, some say that on stormy nights, a phantom car appears in the distance, driving the same deadly curve, forever repeating the final moments of those who disappeared.